Guys, this video is brought to you by our friends at Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who wants to learn new skills. Right now, Skillshare is offering my audience the opportunity to explore their entire class library completely free for 1 month. Everyone has a different goal in mind when joining Skillshare. What's yours? I just finished my first class, how to organize your workflow to maximize productivity by Ali Abdal. Each lesson was short, engaging, and loaded with helpful information. I loved it. Is there a specific skill that you're trying to learn? Skillshare is the perfect place to start. Interested in making a career pivot or leveling up your skills in your current role? Skillshare has classes to match your goals and interests. Skillshare's ad-free and new premium classes launch every week, so there's always something for you to discover. The first 1,000 people to use the link below are going to get 1 month free of Skillshare, so you have nothing to lose. Give it a try right now. Jones, Stipe, who is at fault? Who's at fault right here, guys? What's going on? And don't forget, it's not just Jones and Stipe. There's a third option, which is us. We have created this. Big John and Josh did a show on this 7 months ago. They're the ones that got me excited. John and Josh were talking about, here's what's going to happen. Here's the heavyweight class. Francis is out. These two are going to fight. John throws in there, it's got to be for a belt. I agree with everything, but I was also influenced by that. I came and repeated it to the world. And none of you disagreed with me. I mean, so in all fairness, is it us? Those guys never signed a contract. Those guys never had a date in a venue. This wasn't something that got scratched. This wasn't tickets sold and then the card subject to check, but here we're going to do it over here. That never happened. So did we create something we shouldn't have created? Or is this Jon Jones's fault? Now, the sole blame of why you have not got to see Jon Jones fight, been 18 months, guys. Anytime I don't know a time frame, I say 18 months. Like my mind just does that. But it does feel like that. It was 2 Februaries ago. Here we are in August. We're approaching 3 years when next February rolls around. I know I'm close. Pandemic threw everything off. I used to know exactly, I'm coaching kids. This kid's a sophomore. This kid's going to be a senior. I'm a fan of college wrestling. This guy's got a year left, and then COVID hits and everything got thrown up. But it feels like John's been out for a year and a half. But if I'm wrong, guys, it's 2.5. And this Next February becomes 3. Point is, for sure, the fault of why you haven't seen Jon Jones is John. Because he said, I'm not fighting. Matter of fact, take my belt back. Do whatever you want. Might never return. If I do, it's going to be at heavyweight. I'm just sharing with you. But that's yesterday's news, right? We don't scold a dog today for something he did last week. I'm talking about right now. One thing that we have been able to do a very good job with, that we can definitely credit to John, is he's been straight with us. John said some crazy things. I'm not going to fight at 205 again. That was crazy. Oh, no, it turned out it wasn't. He meant it. I'm going to give my belt back. You can let somebody else fight for it. Never going to happen. Oh, no, it did happen. I'm going to go up to heavyweight, and before I get there, I'm going to weigh 240 pounds. He weighs 242 pounds, about to go to heavyweight. Right? Like, there's things with John where whether you like the info or not, he's pretty straight with the audience. And John is telling us, and has been for a period of time, I am ready. I believe my opponent is Stipe. Never talked about a championship. Never said they've hinted it's an interim or maybe an undisputed. Maybe I'm going to wait for Francis. Nothing else. I'm ready. Where's Stipe? That's it. Very polite when he did it. Didn't call him out. Didn't challenge him. Didn't put him down. Didn't talk any trash. He was pretty straightforward. Stipe has said nothing. And I mean that from all of Team Stipe. Now, I could get the answer. Stipe's old lady is a very good pen pal. If I got a hold of her right now, she is likely to get back to me before I'm even done talking to you. She's very responsive. She's very direct. I haven't done that. Why? Well, I don't know if I want to know. I think I prefer to speculate. I prefer to guess. Something is clearly up with Stipe. Generally, if it's a contract issue, if it's something on the business side, we hear, generally. Stipe's a gentleman. Stipe has class. Perhaps it is that, and he just hasn't told us. Moreover, if it is an illness, if it is an injury. Those are just hard to keep secret. Your coach says something, your training partners, I got to think Stipe's the leader, the captain of his gym. When Stipe's not in there, if he is in there and he's icing an injury or something, guys are going to talk. Guys are going to share. Guys, we haven't heard anything. We haven't heard any rumbling whatsoever. And generally in this business, outside of illness or injury, when you start to get down to contractual disputes, that's where the word fight promoter earns his pay. Dana has a number of strategies to deal with guys who are able and ready and not willing. He has a number of them. None of those strategies have been invoked. So whose fault is it? The Underground Forum has been discussing this for a period of time. They put it all on Jon. Now, I would never spare the lash to Jon Jones, but I prefer to keep it within reality, right? Some guys that I got to exaggerate. I got to embellish when I got to. No, Jon gives me enough, right? If I want to go and kick Jon, I have enough actual. I don't need to look outside of reality, and I don't see what Jon did here. And in all fairness, this happened to Jon one other time. UFC 159. Jon Jones versus Dan Henderson. Dan got hurt. I want to say it was on like 7 days' notice. Might have been 7 days till the weigh-in, 8 days till the fight. I get inserted in. Jon didn't do it. They lose the main event. They lose the card. Right? And the most basic rule of the show must go on. Boy, if anybody adheres to that, it's Dana White. And he could not move forward with the show, and Jon took all the blame. I stayed out of it. I let Jon take the blame. Dan Henderson was my teammate. I'm not ever going to give Dan a hard time, but enough years have gone by that if we did want to reflect back on that, the only person who changed the agreement, the only person, it was Dan. The fact that Dan couldn't go through, the fact that Jon didn't want a late-minute replacement, I'm not sure we could put that on Jon, but we did. I'm not sure that that's right. It sounds right as long as you don't think it through. If you do think it through, Jon Jones was willing to do what he had agreed to do. That agreement got changed. He didn't like the new terms. Okay. And I'm just wondering, are we doing that here too? Are the kids on the Underground Forum that are putting this on Jon Jones doing that too? We don't know Stipe's side. Stipe's got no problem fighting Jon Jones. I can tell you guys that. I get my phone and scroll back to the last time I did talk to Mrs. Stipe. That's exactly who they were looking for. And I had that before anybody. I didn't even share it with you guys because I thought it was a secret. I thought she was telling me a secret. It turned out that she was not. I could have broken that news for her, but what I'm sharing for you is that was like November of last year. When I tell you that Stipe's got no problem with Jon Jones or is thinking about or is planning for Jon Jones, that's 100% right. Stipe put on some size. Weighed in at 231 opposite Daniel Cormier. Weighed in at 233. I weigh 233 right now. I'm far from a heavyweight. I have stood next to Francis Ngannou. My God, he was the biggest man I've ever seen. He felt like that. Shaquille O'Neal would be the biggest man that I've ever... Francis felt bigger. I couldn't imagine being in there, trying to lock up with this guy. Stipe did, but Stipe also learned something, which is if I do it again, and I'm going to do it again, I'm going to come get my belt back. Got to be bigger. I got to be more man, so he went and put on 20 pounds. That's interesting to me. A 255-pound Stipe Miocic, I got to see that. A 242-pound Jon Jones, I got to see that. So what is going on there? And Bisping had thrown out a prediction weeks ago, and he sounded silly when he said it, but as the days and the weeks go by, it's looking more and more accurate, which is we're not even going to do Jones versus Stipe. We're going to wait for Francis, get that worked out, put Jon in here with him, work Stipe in after that. If that is the case, then the wrong party here is back to us. We're the ones that create. We're missing a fight. We're waiting for a fight that we were never promised. We created that. We told each other we were going to get that. So we look at this a little bit more objectively, and perhaps you guys have information that I don't. Perhaps somewhere along the way, Stipe or Team Miocic spoke up and I missed it. That'd be very unlikely, but maybe it did happen. So tell me, who here is at fault?